Hey everybody, I'm Kurt. This is my good friend AC. You are the Youth Ministry Nation. Let's talk youth ministry. Hello. As always, my friend.
How are you?
Good. Rachel and I just celebrated 24 years of wedding bliss. 24 years of marital bliss is what I like to call it. She might call it something different.
At least partial of it.
Yes,
a little different.
Yes. No, we went away to San Diego for a couple nights. And
okay, let me ask you this. Does
Yes.
it feel like 24 years?
No, not even.
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah.
Marriage has not felt like 24 years.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm old enough to be married 24 years. I look back at when Rachel's parents celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
They seemed like old people. You know, like using a cane and helping each other down the aisle at their vow renewals. And here we are at 24.
And you were thinking...
And her dad was younger than I am now. Because they got married super early. Yeah. So no, I do not. Nothing about it feels like it has been 24 years. It's all good, except for the fact that we've raised kids and they're almost out of the house. And
those are the indicators.
my cholesterol's a little bit higher than it should be, but those are the indicators.
Yeah. You never even. You know, I'm like it'll be 15 in June, and I'm like 15 years.
That's nothing. What's the word? That's nothing to
smile at.
No, I'm saying good. Hey, 15 years. That's not too shabby. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a long
That's
time.
a long
15
time.
years is a long time.
It's like double the average, right?
It doesn't feel like 15 years, but we got 3 kids. One that'll be 10 in January. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow,
man.
It's crazy.
But it's all good.
It's all good. Congratulations. Let's just congratulate each other.
Yes.
We are great husbands.
Yes. If you
Great
want any
husbands.
tips, we're starting a new podcast. No.
Hey, speaking of podcasts,
Yes.
very quickly, if you want to subscribe to this podcast, right down there on the screen, you can click that little button, and I don't even know what subscribing means. It means it gets delivered to their inbox?
Inbox, yeah.
Okay,
So
so
you get an email that
fantastic.
we put up a new show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's nice. We are, at least according to our own research, the fastest growing youth ministry podcast on the interwebs.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
to be politically correct, this is a web show.
Oh.
They would consider it a web show.
Not a podcast.
Not necessarily a podcast.
However,
But
we
do
are
have
in
a
podcast form. If you ever want to listen instead of watch, you can subscribe through iTunes. Let's Talk Youth Ministry. Yep, and there we are. Also, if you've never heard of youthministry.com, a lot of people are watching this from youthministry.com's website because it's embedded there. If you've never heard of youthministry.com, it is a youth ministry resource webpage, articles, resources, powered by the good people at Simply Youth Ministry. Speaking of Simply Youth Ministry, the one-day conference, what's the details about that?
One-day conference. It's almost like a tour. So you go to the website, find out the date that's closest to you.
Okay, so it's a one-day youth ministry training. Comes to a city near you. Super affordable. Take your whole team.
It's Jesus-centered.
Yep.
So
those 3-day conferences, as awesome as they are, very pricey to take a team of volunteers. The one-day, the Simply One-Day conference, I think it's like, if you take more than 10 people, it's like $39 or something. It's all on the website.
Yeah.
Go to it, check it out. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. I'm excited just to see. It's Jesus-centered.
Have you sat through Rick Lawrence's Jesus-centered training?
I haven't.
It is year in and year out. Well, year in and year out. I think he's done 2 years in a row. But for 2 or 3 years in a row, it is the highest rated workshop or track at the entire Simply Youth Ministry conference.
Oh, wow.
That's out of like 80 workshops.
Yeah.
Jesus-centered youth ministry is the highest rated workshop. Yeah. And that's this year at the Simply One Day conference. It's Rick coming to a city near you and doing his Jesus-centered youth ministry. At the conference, it's 4 2-hour tracks.
Okay.
Here, it'll be basically like a 6.5-hour training day. Focused it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome.
We're going to go to the one.
Yeah, we're hosting one.
So,
yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
I'm excited.
Alrighty. Woo! That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, did you know there's good waves right now? There's really good waves.
The better question
really
is,
good waves.
do I care?
He's never gone. Have you ever gone in the ocean water?
Yeah, I've been in there.
But you don't like it.
I've been in there, but I don't go. You know, I like to look at it. My kids like to put their feet in it.
Do you want to admit why you don't go in the ocean water?
because we don't belong in there.
What do you mean? Who's we?
You got fish, you got barnacles, you got sharks.
What's
you
got barnacles?
What is it? The stingrays with barbs that shoot at you, and seaweed, and
so you're saying if
barracudas.
If we belong,
if
we belong in the water, we'd have gills. Is what you're saying? That's your philosophy.
If we belonged in the water, man, God would have made fins so we could swim faster than the fastest killing machine in the water.
I'll take it. All right.
You know?
Okay.
It's just logic.
You know, I don't know anybody that's ever seen the shark.
I do.
You do?
My brother-in-law.
Oh, come on.
My brother-in-law, he was at Camp Pendleton.
Yeah.
Where he surfed.
Yeah.
He was on his board. Great white.
Bunch of BS.
Great white swims under him. He freezes on his board. He can't even move because the shark is right beneath him.
It was a dolphin.
And I said,
it was a dolphin.
Is that wave worth it?
Okay. All right.
We'll do a show on it because
I call bull on that story. Bull shark. I call bull shark on that story.
He was terrified. So it had to be more
for BS. Bull shark.
It had to be more than just a dolphin. A shark.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about some volunteers.
Okay. Some specific ones. We got problems with them. I'm not sure if this is the. I'm not sure if
we want a dialogue. We want a dialogue with our people. No. It's summertime, so volunteers are usually maybe sometimes just on our last thing to do because we're planning events, we're planning camps. We're just doing a lot.
We're
taking vacation. We're wrapping up small groups for some people, and so volunteers kind of go away, or we don't know what to do, and then
take a back seat.
Yeah, and then we're thinking towards the future, and the less time we think about them, the less time we have to actually plan something out to go after them. So I thought we'd give a few tips on, and this is something that we've experienced in terms of how we become a little bit more lax in the summer on our volunteers, and how we are like, we need to change that because we found that even though we have a summer program where we're doing stuff with students, it's not as stringent. Yeah, it's not as crazy as the fall is. Yeah. And so it's a great time for us to really rev up what we do with our volunteers, how we recruit our volunteers. So I thought we'd give a few things for them to think about in the summer with their volunteers.
I love it. I think, and by the way, this is based on an email we got. If you want to send us an email with a show topic or a specific youth ministry question, you can email us at talkyouthministry
at gmail.com. Just talkyouthministry at gmail.com.
Great. Well, here's the thing. I think the way you're describing it is definitely kind of unique to one style of ministry. And what I mean by that is, for example, our style of ministry is because we don't do our small groups year-round, we take the summer off from small groups, right? Small groups are highly volunteer dependent. We cannot do small groups without our volunteers. So we run the season, like we have a small group season of the school year, and then we kind of have an off season of the summer. And a whole bunch, probably 80 or 90% of our volunteers check out for the summer. They take the summer off, right? They don't come to the weekend. We don't have anything for them to do. They check out during the summer. Other churches maybe don't feel that. They might do small groups year-round. They have their small groups attached to the weekend program, which happens year-round. My hunch, though, is even the churches that do small groups year-round or is attached, summertime just looks a little bit different. They probably back off a little bit in the summer. Yeah. For us, it's a big deal because we almost completely shut off our volunteers for the summer. So I think what you're asking is, what do we do during the summer with our volunteers? How do we think about our volunteer ministry? How do we leverage a little bit of a down season?
Yeah.
Great question. So I'll give you my thoughts, and then I'll let you jump in, and I'll sit back. I actually think, and this might be again for Saddleback, I think we have made the mistake of thinking seasonally about volunteers.
Yeah.
So we utilize them like crazy, and then we take the foot off the gas, and then we kind of forget about volunteers until we need them again. I would suggest that we need to have a year-round approach. That I think there's 4 things we do with volunteers that every church should be doing with their volunteers. It's kind of a linear process and this never-ending secular process is we have to enlist volunteers, we have to equip volunteers, we have to empower volunteers, and we have to encourage volunteers. Enlist means get them, find them, sign them up, recruit them. Equip them means train them, teach them about youth ministry, get them ready to go. Empower means give ministry away, right? And encourage means cheer them on, keep them encouraged, be their biggest cheerleaders. What we do, that should be seasonal, right? And there's probably times where you have to do some stuff more than others. Summertime for us traditionally has been we enlist like crazy during the summer because the fall's coming. We have to have new leaders. And then the rest of the year we forget to enlist because
we relax.
We relax on enlisting.
Everything else is starting.
Right. So I would suggest we need to enlist around the clock. We need to equip around the clock. Most of the time we kind of have our enlisting season, then our equipping season, and then we're kind of always empowering and encouraging. I would just say we need to always do all four of those.
When I started thinking about this, enlisting came to my mind from the get-go because I feel like that's an issue for every single church. I don't know one church that says we will no more volunteers.
Right.
We are full to the brim. We have nothing else for anybody to do. I don't think any church does that. But sometimes we act like that.
Our Manila campus in Buenos Aires, our Manila campus is kind of at that point.
No,
they have too many volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a good thing, though. We need to find other stuff to do.
So they're sending some over to us.
Yeah, that's good. But I think you get to that point, if you're not thinking enlist, you get to a point where you have the season of enlisting, and then you have the season where you want to we need to put them to work. We need to focus on other things. And I think it definitely needs to be enlist all the time. There needs to be a strategy where you're always enlisting because you always need. And the reality is people have lives. Your life group leaders have lives. And you never know when a life group leader is going to come and say,
the thing.
You know what? I'm now going to go to school, and now I'm going to go to seminary, and I can't do it
ministry
anymore.
Talk to me, and they need help, and that just feels more.
Or their heart gets tugged in a different area, and that can happen at any given time. Or one of your volunteers God has called us to another church. That can happen at any given time, and so a strategy where we are always enlisting volunteers, always looking, always trying to figure out new ways to bring volunteers in. And I think. For us, we've kind of depended upon staff. And then at one point we kind of depended upon one person and said, hey, get into the other ministries within our church and try to. And one of the things that we've talked about this year is empowering our leaders to go after leaders.
Well, they're the best people to go after leaders. If you go after a potential volunteer, you're the paid spokesperson. You're an employee of the church. Of course, you think they'd be great with students. Of course, you think you're the paid spokesperson. Our current leaders are satisfied customers.
As a
volunteer, they're satisfied customers. So when they go to somebody in their small group and say, "Hey guys, man, you know what? I was talking to AC the other day, and he said that the high school ministry is really praying for more leaders." Hey Bob, I think you should join me. When a current volunteer makes that ask, it's infinitely more powerful than when you make the ask. And I think with enlisting, because sometimes people say, well, I'm not sure if I have anything for them to do if I get too many. A, like you said, most churches don't have too many. B, here's my answer to that. Invent something for them to do.
Exactly.
Just invent something.
Exactly.
Or keep like what I would call, for lack of a better phrase, like a hot file. You can recruit and say to somebody, hey, would you be praying about for the next few months? And would you be open to, if we ever do need another small group leader, would you be open to stepping in? And they say, you know what? Yeah, I think maybe I might be. Great. You put their name in your little hot file. You don't have to close the deal yet. But you have these hot leads, right? I mean, any salesperson will tell you they got this list of hot leads. I'm not sure if that's the phrase they use. But it's when Joe comes and says, bro, I got to step out for a season. If you don't have somebody in the wings, at least you have a hot file where you can go, Mr. Jones said if we ever need help, he'd pray about it. Okay, I'm calling Mr. Jones. If you don't at least have that, now you're scrambling, going, "Oh, pastor, can you make an announcement in the pulpit? How do we get in the bulletin? Who do we know? Who can we convince? Maybe my wife will step up." And we kind of come into Band-Aid mode that we don't necessarily need to find ourselves in.
And I think you mentioned empowered. I think enlisting and empowering kind of go together, because the more you empower your leaders to do other things, I think, one, it helps for growth, because you can only grow your capacity you can only grow to your capacity.
Right.
Like once you've maxed out, there is no room for growth. And if you do grow, it won't be healthy and it won't stay.
Right.
But if you continue to enlist, as you enlist, you bring them in and you do less, and you allow your volunteers to do more, and you continue to bring people in. And that's sometimes a hard thing, because people aren't going to do it necessarily the way we want to do it, the way we would do it. And I think that's where humility in ministry needs to come in, and understand that what's your end goal? Is it your end goal for you to
be the
hero for these students, or is it for you to become an actual disciple maker and help your leaders equip, do the work as you bring in, equip, and help people do the work, and as you equip, help people do the work. I think that's kind of like the formula. If you're in especially if you're in a small church, and maybe you're in a situation. I remember we had a comment on our last show, and our last show was about small churches. You can go watch that on the show, but the lady had a comment. We read an email about a guy that was in that type of situation where he was at a small church, didn't have but one volunteer.
Right.
And she chimed in and said, "I totally know exactly where you are. I'm in the same boat. They want me to do a bunch of stuff. I don't have a lot of budget, but I have a faithful volunteer." And to me, I think, man, sometimes, now this may not be for everybody, but sometimes what we allow that volunteers to do frees us up to begin to build relationships and begin to move and think volunteers.
Yes, it frees you up. If you give ministry away, first of all, I totally agree with what you said. It'll only grow to the way I would say it is, your youth ministry will only grow to the extent that you're willing to give it away.
Yeah.
So the more you're willing to give ministry away,
I need to tweet that.
Feel free. Then your ministry can grow. If you're hoarding it, it can only grow to your capacity.
Yeah.
Right? And some people have more capacity than others, which is why some Lone Ranger youth ministries are larger than other Lone Ranger. But it will only grow to your capacity. Yeah. Yours might be higher than mine, but it'll only grow to yours. Yeah. Right? And mine will only grow to mine. If you can give ministry away. What's great about what you were saying is if you give ministry away here, that frees you up now to go find new leaders. Yeah. Right? I talked about invent something for the volunteers to do. Well, what I would do is I wouldn't invent something new for a brand new leader. Yeah. That's too much empowerment too soon, right, for a brand new leader. Instead, take your veteran leaders, invent new things, come up with new ideas, new things for them to do, and give your veterans some room to run around. Yeah. And then you backfill the gaps that they leave. Just the basic youth ministry nuts and bolts. You backfill that with your new recruits. Yeah. And now you've got veterans running free. Yeah. You've got new recruits doing Youth Ministry 101. Yeah. And it just becomes kind of a self...
Just thinking about a thing, when you talk about like creating that new thing, I think, for us, because we have a team, I'm always, when I talk to youth workers who have maybe 2 or 3 volunteers, I talked to one guy from LA who has a few volunteers and wants to try the small group model, but don't really know how to do it, don't really, and so I told him, I said, I can tell you how we do it and give you some ideas there. But what would happen if you took those 3 volunteers you had and you guys sat down and you told them, thank you, and you told them, hey, this is what we want to do. This is what I'm thinking about doing. I think God is leading us to do the small group model here. Yeah. How can we do this? Like, how would you guys see this? How would you envision this happening here, where there's smaller groups all around and they're learning and there's one leader? Now, it's only 3 of us, and I don't know how many kids they had. So, like, how do you see that happening? And begin to get them talking, begin to get them buying into what you're trying to do, and bring them on. I mean, they're volunteers. It's just you, there you have, not only do you have great volunteers, but you got volunteers that are buying in. You got a creative group,
Right.
And that could be a ministry.
Right.
Hey, I need people, creative people. Whether you're creative with arts, whether you're creative with music, whatever you are, if you're a creative mind, I need you to help me brainstorm. Yeah. I think it's a very I don't want to say humiliating thing.
Humble.
Yeah, it's a very.
It shows humility.
It shows humility to reach out to other people, but it also shows leadership that you're trying to move things forward. You're trying to grow something. You're trying to impact something, and you're inviting people in. Now you have a group of people who just signed up to go. Oh, I'll give ideas all day. Great.
Right.
Then you give them a little taste of what they're actually creating in the small groups. And I can tell you this: we have our entry kind of serve thing, which is our weekend leaders. We've had almost half of our weekend leaders have converted to being small group leaders because they had a taste of what it looked like. An entry point, a safe entry point where expectations were very easy, understandable, very clear, but they got a taste of what it's like to impact a student's life. Right. And they were like, man, I like this. I would love to do more. I would love to mentor. And we plug them in to life.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Hey, if you want to learn just a little bit more about this 4-stage process of enlisting, equipping, empowering, encouraging, at youthministry.com, you have to scroll back a ways in the archives, maybe a month. I wrote a 4-week series. Okay. So I dedicated one article to each step of the process, so they can go check that out. Cool. Subscribe right here. There's a button. Subscribe. Check out youthministry.com for great articles and resources. Go to simplyyouthministry.com, or it's probably at youthministry.com too. Yeah. The information about the one-day conference.
Oh yeah, there should be a banner right on this post.
You know what they say about his banner? His banner over me is love, brother. Remember that song?
On that note,
just tell me you remember that song.
I do remember. Okay. His banner.
You remember that?
Is love. Peace out. Yeah.